Today we're going to be looking at how to restore N64 controllers. As most of you know, and the probably reason you're here, is because the joystick on your controller has died. And by dying, I mean it's starting to look like this, where it's not returning back to centre. It's lost its spring to get back there. So there's been quite a few videos that I've seen online on how to do this and how to try and restore these in multiple ways, ranging from using epoxy or super glue or whatever to try and restore the controller, and they all seem like quite a lot of effort for no reason. So hopefully we'll try and take another approach to restoring these. So thankfully they are quite easy to take apart to get into them. As you can see, I've already removed this one from the controller. So we'll be able to get in this quite easily there's just one screw on the bottom. And we'll take a look inside. I've not had this one open yet, but as you can see it's obviously broken, so we'll try and get that fixed up. So we'll just take that small crosshead screwdriver out at the bottom. As you can see, it's starting to spring open. There's a big spring inside. So take care to put that aside. And these two retaining clips on the back there, we just pry them open. There, just starts to pop open. There we go. So immediately we can start seeing the problem in here. If we take out this out of the way and take this out of the way, this is the problem here. You can see the plastics inside have started to, well, I say started to, have completely worn down, and they've just turned to dust inside. And that plastic is what holds the joystick in place to let this spring do its work to return it back to zero. And when that plastic is worn down, it's quite a soft plastic, so when it wears down it just flaps around basically. What a lot of people I've seen do is to build up that cup again, like so, to put epoxy in it, then make it concave, but that seems like it's such a fiddly sort of task and like a lot of work to try and build this plastic up again. So what I looked into doing is to just replace this, because you can replace this entire unit. So the only ones you'll find are reproduction ones, like cheap Chinese reproduction units, and they're actually quite expensive. I mean, they're quite expensive, and what you'll get for them is probably not a very good quality. So what I've looked into do, it is ideally is, rather than rebuild this piece of plastic up, is to just replace it. And the only place I found, because I'm getting crap everywhere, the only place I found to sell these is places in America. So what I went and did is bought a pack of them, I think pack of 10 of these, just to try them out. I mean, the cost of the shipping was enough, so I thought I might as well buy a few, and if they're any good, then I've got a few. So I bought a pack of 10. Hopefully they're good, because I mean they were about £1. I can't remember how much they were, about £1, £2 each. So it works out quite well, rather than paying £7 or £8 for a Chinese knockoff of these things. Hopefully this is going to work out quite well, so we'll go ahead and do that. So I'll take one of these new ones out, which I've not seen yet, but as you can hopefully see, if it's not for the glare, focus. Nice solid plastic in there, nice and smooth. So what we clearly need to do is to remove these, I don't know what they're called, indexing wheels. It's these slotted wheels you can see there. So when you move the joystick around, it moves these wheels around on the X and Y axis, and these light sensors. I can't remember what they're called now, but it's a beam of light that passes through these wheels. So when you move, it breaks the connection in this light, and it knows whether or not it's going backwards or forwards. It looks like what we just need to do is to bend these back a bit to just get these wheels out. We've got those off, we can get rid of that. Try and just clean out that mess. And what we'll do is we're going to put these new wheels into here. A bit of grease down into there for where the plastics meet. And then I'll just put a dab in there just to lubricate the cup a bit. Hopefully that'll stay in there nicely and just make it feel smoother. I put this other wheel on, and now we're just going to clean this out a bit. Just going to blow away the dust on there. I'm just going to put a dab of grease on there as well. Probably don't need to, but just this is the plastic bit there that just rubs against the bottom of, it's the mating surface against there. So what we'll do actually while this is apart, we'll just clean this up a bit, because it's got, with the plastic dust, it ends up getting in around here, and actually gets down, it becomes visible down in the down there in the joystick. So we can remove this piece of plastic here, which is retaining the spring and this washer, and that just comes out with a few twists. As we can see down in the plastic there's a bit of dirt. So I'm just going to put a tiny spray, a tiny drip of isopropanol on this cotton bud, and we can use that to clean out this, what is going to be plastic, and also probably build up a bit of grease in there as well. So this will help cut through those oils and plastics that have built up over there over the years. It just gives us nice access without that joystick in there. And we'll also clean this joystick, this thumbstick, because that's obviously where the thumb meets it, and that is going to be dirty, but use a bit of effort in here to clean that off. There's a bit of stubborn dirt. And also I think what I'll do is just put a tiny dab of grease in these parts here, because these are plastic on plastic. This is the groove that when you change in this axis, it rubs against there. So a tiny bit of grease in there is not going to hurt anyone. And then we can reconstruct this. We put that back on there. This chap goes across here, I believe. You see that there. When this rotates, you can see it down there. when you do that, it rotates the wheel which passes through the light sensor and registers the location. So what you'll find as well, because of this, what you'll find is when the console is booting, when it's launching, it calibrates the controller, because it doesn't. These wheels don't know. They don't know where the controller is, so it makes the assumption that you've left it alone. If you launch the console with the stick to the side, it then calibrates that to 0, 0, and then when you let go, it will register it as you pressing it in one direction, holding it in one direction. So if you've got a bit of a wobbly stick, you might find that it's resting to the side as well, and when you go to center it with your thumb, your character starts wandering off or aiming off to the wrong direction. So having a good stick that returns to 0, 0, a true 0, 0 properly is definitely a good thing to have for that purpose as well. So now that we've got that in place and this is hooked into the top side, should be able to just put that through and pull those together. There we go. Get those clips on and we'll get that screw on. See how this feels. So it is better, and I think you might get away with this. Play-wise, I mean, it's not perfect. There is still a bit of play there, but I think that is other parts that are worn down, unfortunately. As you can see, I've got it back apart again. When I tried doing the first thing I tried doing is to try and stretch the spring out a bit, to try and add a bit of tension to the joystick, but it did help a little bit with returning it back to snapping back to 0 a little bit faster. So that was nice, but it's still got quite a bit of play in it. So if we look at the groove on the joystick, just zoom in a bit there, we can see that this end is quite a sharp. It's quite a sharp moulding there of the plastic still. If we look at the other end of it, we can see down here where there's a bit of where there's actual friction against the rest of the unit. You can see that it's actually started to curl over there, where it's worn down over the years, and it's made it so that there's just a bit of extra play on there. This is probably the worst one I could find of the bunch to demonstrate this and to see how much of a difference it would be to change this. I don't think it's made a huge difference, unfortunately. I guess we'll post this video still as a failure rather than how to. So how not to. It's more of an experiment, a research, if anything, just to see if this is worth the investment, which in some cases it might be, but I have a feeling if it starts getting this bad, it's kind of a write-off. I would feel uncomfortable selling a controller with this joystick, to be honest. I don't think I could do that in good conscience, because it's not very good. Hopefully we'll have better luck next time. So I'll post this still as a more of a research R&D project rather than a guide. Hopefully you still learned something. Anyway, if you enjoyed this, then maybe consider liking or subscribing, and hopefully we'll have a bit more success in the future, and we can share that. That'd be good, because this is a little bit disappointing, to be perfectly honest.